Joining us now, she is the head coach over at Belmont, fresh off the historic year where they won the Valley Conference Championship in their first ever trip to the NCAA tournament. She has been a longtime guest on the show. We've talked a lot of softball, and then we might even sprinkle in a little Chicago Bears because she is a Bears fan. I speak of Laura Matthews joining us here on In the Circle at D1 Softball. There, you've added some nice resume there since we last spoke.
Yeah, we had a really fun spring and now it's back to the grind and hoping to continue to build on what we did last spring.
Well, let's talk about last year first because it's been a fascinating last handful of months for you. Let's start with getting that over the hump, winning that conference championship tournament, dramatic beating Southern Illinois. That's become a great rivalry in the league and across the country, and then making that NCAA tournament regional for the first time. Now that you've had time to reflect on that year, what comes to your mind?
I think the things that, with a little bit of space when you walk away from a season, I think I'm just very proud of kind of the progress of building the program into what we want it to be. It takes, you don't just very often just go start winning. It takes a lot of years of slow changing of culture, creating it the way that you want to be, developing championship level habits, and then having the right people in your program who are ready for the big games and can step in the batter's box or in the circle with that confidence to make the big play. And I think that was the thing for me in reflecting on, our run through the Missouri Valley tournament and even the NCAA tournament, how poised the group of women we had were. And that was a long time culmination from a lot of experienced players. And I think that's the big takeaway for me is I was more nervous than they were. And they just handled themselves so well. And I think that is just a testament to the culture that our players have built.
What do you hope to your returners, and then what do you personally take from that experience last year that you hope to apply to this year and in your case beyond?
Yeah, I think every year is different. You graduate players, you bring new players in. And so you never want to be content with what you've done. And obviously, we have lessons that we've learned from having postseason run and things like that that we want to take with us, but it's all new. We have no concept of what anybody else has brought in our conference. We have no idea of what adversity we're going to face in the spring. And so you've got to try to prepare yourself for everything that's in front of you. But taking that experience and the confidence that you have from winning. And I think that part's really, really exciting. And I can see it in our players. And you can even see it in how they pass it on to our new players. So I'm really excited about that piece of it, of getting over that hump and now, you walk a little bit taller, a little bit more confident stepping on the field, but also avoiding complacency. So those are some of the challenges that we have in front of us.
So, of course, the offseason, it was unique with Maya Johnson deciding to enter the transfer portal and then going through the process, but then deciding, no, I want to come back to Belmont. And we were fortunate enough to have her on when she made her decision, and she went into in-depth detail on her behalf. From your perspective, what was that like for you during that time period where, there's a kid that's meant a lot to you and meant a lot to the program, you want her to be happy, but then she's going to bowl, but then all of a sudden, hey, can I come back? It's unique. Just talk about that because that's unique of an off season as it gets.
Yeah, it was an experience I never anticipated having in our program having I learned a lot through it about our program, our culture, obviously Maya along with it. It was a roller coaster. Like I went through the stages of grieving. I joked with her where you go through all of those things right, right when you know it's happening and one of your successful players, pillar of your program is going in the portal. Um, but it always came down to she gave us so much. She gave us everything she had. She graduated from Belmont. She did everything the right way. And ultimately, you want your players to be happy and in an important environment that they can be successful. And so, I mean, we had moved on in a lot of ways, and then we had the opportunity to bring her back. And, the way she handled the process was in a way that wasn't alienating to her teammates, to us as a coaching staff. She always spoke so highly of our program and her experience here. So it was a no-brainer when she wanted to come back. It's like, heck yeah. And you could really see it in our players' reactions when she came back. They were so ecstatic. I mean, they're blowing up my phone. Heck yeah, let's go. Let's do this again. That kind of stuff. And that's when you know. That's when you know, like, this is awesome. This is great for our program. And I think Maya learned a lot. We learned a lot. I learned a lot about, this era of college softball. And it kind of reminded me of if you do things the right way, you treat people well, and you take care of your program, like good things happen.
Good things really happen. Do you remember the first time you found out that she like inkling that, oh wait, she might actually wants to come back?
Yes. I was like, oh, I hope I don't get my hopes up and then get sad again. I already got over the sad. So yeah, it was a really like I there were a couple of her teammates she was pretty close with. I think she didn't really try to drag a bunch of people into her re-recruitment and all of that kind of stuff. So one of her teammates in particular she was pretty close with, and she kind of brought it up like, hey, Maya doesn't want to open wounds if it's not going to happen again. But we started having some conversations, and Maya and I have always been very close, very honest with each other. We've been through a lot of things together, and so once we got that dialogue opened back up, I think things started to kind of come into clarity a little bit that this could happen. And there were a lot of logistical things, a lot of things along the way, a lot of boxes that had to be checked to make it reality. And Belmont was phenomenal. Our administration was great, and so it definitely made it really really sweet when it happened.
I remember she told me when she came on right after she had made her decision. I'm going to paraphrase what she said, but basically the way you treated her with class, everything through a tough situation where she's entering the portal, really meant a lot to her, and was in the back of her mind when she decided to come back. I mean, have you reflected on that and how well you handle that? If you handle that, differently, maybe it's a different result. But the fact that you were supporting her even through the fact that she was thinking of leaving or in the process of that really was a big factor. And have you also realized, have you seen all the reaction from a lot of people that were very excited that she was coming back from especially mid major softball fans?
Yeah, well, she was put in a position. I mean, her success on the field brought her a lot of really hard decisions. There were a lot of people in her ear, a lot of people, calling her up and throwing things at her in ways that were appropriate and also ways that I don't think were appropriate. And so I think to put somebody in that type of position, you'd be crazy, not to get distracted by the noise. And we knew what was happening. I mean, we knew that this was a reality. We're not the first coach that's had, players, potentially get tampered with and things along those lines. And that's not my story to tell. If, I know how our program conducts itself, and there are some other programs that I don't think quite do the same thing. But there's always noise, right? Like we are a mid-major. We're not handing out blank checks. Um, we don't have that level of resources. And so when you start hearing dollar amounts that are thrown out from comparable players or players that your players better than, you start to get a little like, ooh, because in a lot of ways, money makes the world go round. We know that. And but I also know Maya, and I know she's a little different. She's motivated by lots of different things. And I've never known her to be somebody who's motivated by money. But man, it's hard. It's hard when you've got a lot of things in your ear, and you're ambitious and you want to be great. And you start hearing things and you've got people telling you great things about you. It's hard. And so I think a lot of how we choose to operate is put yourself in someone else's shoes. If I was her age, I don't know what type of decisions I would have been making. And I think I was pretty smart at that age, but you start hearing things like that. Like, I don't know what I would have done at her age. And so for me to sit there and from an ivory tower and look down upon her, that's not what we do with our players. We love them and we care about them and we want what's best for them. And if what was best for her was to not be at Belmont, then she shouldn't have been at Belmont. Um, I always did believe it was, her being here was one of the best things that could be there for her, but she had to know that in her heart. And I think she got there. And so we're just really grateful for that.
What advice would you give other coaches that might get in a similar situation there? I mean, I remember, one of the messages she said when she was on was, hey, if you're a player, just you don't have to leave if you don't want to. Like, even if you thought maybe you did want to leave, like, it's okay to change your mind. That was one of the messages. From your perspective, what's the message you would tell coaches who might be in a similar boat than you are down the road?
I think the biggest thing is treat your players with love and respect. And, part of our job as coaches is to help them become, we get them when they're kids, and then when they walk out the door, they're really mature young women. So hopefully we've done a good job of helping them along that path as they figure that out, and then they get to make adult decisions. I think the one thing that, mine's different. Everybody's situation is different. So there's no boilerplate for how this works. There's one thing that I would give, like, kind of a message to players that are considering transferring. I think if you're going to be somewhere for 1 year, it's hard. I think it takes a certain type of person who can go to a place for 1 year, get comfortable, trust the people around them, know that they're loved. Like 1 year, like that's hard to do. So I think you have to kind of look in the mirror, and I think that was part of it for Maya. I don't want to speak for her. Was like, can I get comfortable in a year? Can I trust these people in a year? Like, do you even unpack your suitcase in a year? And I think that's one thing that I would really encourage players in the portal in the 1 year situations is like, you've got to look at yourself and know we do have players on our team that I think could do it. I'm not saying that anyone can't. I think it's hard. I think it's really, really hard to do that for 1 year. And so that would be the thing that I would really encourage kids getting in the portal to kind of take a look at and reflect and have self-awareness on, am I a person who opens up easily, who can get comfortable easily? Because, it's very tricky at that point.
Well, especially you're adjusting to academic life. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that you're adapting to. It's not as simple as just moving from place to place at all. So I think that makes a ton of sense. So, what's it been like now having her back around this fall so far to this point? Is it same old, same old? And have you noticed any differences from her?
She's still really good. Um, she's still a very, very good pitcher. Um, I think she's around a lot more. So she was in her nursing degree last year, and so she was in these clinicals. So she was throwing, bullpens, on her own. She was doing a lot of things because she was working all the time in the hospital. So she's at practice all the time because her classes, a lot of them are online now, in her doctorate program. And so she's at practice every day. So that's a really different experience with her. But no, she's still great. She's still a phenomenal pitcher. She still has the edge to want to get even better, which is great. And so, yeah, she's just a year older, and she's just getting better and better.
Now, what's unique about this is, while she was in the portal, at the same time, you're moving, you got to like figure out your team. And you got a big addition to the pitching staff during that time frame, and now she comes back. So tell me about this pitching staff, which all of a sudden on paper maybe looks as good as it gets in the country among the potential great 1-2 punch, as well as maybe the best pitching depth staff you've had since you've been at Belmont. Just talk about that process, because while she was figuring out what she wanted to do, you're picking players and adding some pieces to this team for this upcoming year.
Yeah, our pitching staff is deep. We're pretty excited about it, and I think they complement each other well. So we've got a lot of different styles on our staff too. So we think we're going to be able to match up really well. We've got 7 pitchers, which is a lot more than we normally have. But we've got a couple who are two-way kids who are freshmen. And we don't have to force anybody to go that extra time through the order, maybe like we've had to in the past. I think we're going to be able to handle the early season weekends of 5 games really well without overly taxing anybody. So I'm really excited. It's fun. The biggest challenge we've got is figuring out how to get all their bullpens in with real catchers. I mean, we've got some bullpen catchers that help us out, which is great. But yeah, we've got tremendous depth in the circle, and we're so blessed that we're going to be able to match up, I think, really well with a lot of different opponents we have.
Speak of some of the names that people get to learn. So like, people started to learn Maya over the last couple of years. You've added Hannah on the portal. You mentioned some of the new arms. So talk about some of the arms and what they bring.
Yeah, Hannah is, a drop ball, heavy ball, takes 3 hits to score type of kid, but has also played in a lot of big games. So she's got a lot of experience. I think that's really cool. She brings a completely different perspective to our staff. She's fitting right in with the dynamic that we've got. So she's gonna, hopefully dominate the bottom half of the zone, and we can trust our defense with her because she's going to create a lot of ground balls and things like that for our staff. So she's doing a great job. We've got Ellie Giles coming back, who is more top of the zone, spinny, locates. She's a senior. She's thrown a lot of big innings for us through an NCAA tournament last year. She's back and she's throwing really well for us. We've got Mackenzie Willis coming back, who, she had a pretty good year for us last year. And I think she's just at another level right now than she was last year. A hard thrower can, I remember looking up, we were at Tuscaloosa and I'm looking at the gun, it's like 68. We never seen 68 before, but she's a power pitcher and she's got a ton of movement too, can strike people out. So, we've got Allie Middleton, who threw some innings for us and more of short stints for us last year, and she's back and she's throwing better than she did last year. And then um, Tallulah and Anna, our freshmen, are just getting better and working hard every day. And so I think that depth is going to be really nice for us.
Could you see a situation where your pitching staff, you may have defined roles, or maybe certain pitchers come out of the bullpen because you have so many arms, or is that still to be evolved?
Oh man, that's going to be evolving all the time. I think one of the cool things, and we've got few games this weekend, is figuring who's good after this, who's good after whom, and hey, this pitcher is better at when she faces, this type of lineup, and we might be able to even play matchups on the weekend. So if you've got a team that's really good up in the zone, maybe Hannah takes a little bit bigger role that weekend. If we've got a team that's really good down in the zone, maybe Ellie takes a little bit more that weekend. So we can kind of mix and match. Hopefully everybody's healthy and we can play more matchup rather than health. Um, but we've got a lot of options, and I think I'm really excited because they seem to be vibing well with each other, and understanding that we need to win, and our goal is to win, and how do we make each other better? And so far I've been pretty impressed with them.
And also, I would imagine keeps Maya fresh throughout the year. Where maybe last year maybe you had to overwork her because obviously you're in a battle, you're trying to win a conference championship, things like that. Maybe this keeps her a little fresher, and gives you some different options there that and play the long game.
Yeah, I think we probably threw her a few more innings than we would have liked to last year. She was pretty healthy last year, which was great. We also are having some changes in the Missouri Valley. We're gonna move, instead of a single elimination tournament, we're moving to a double elimination tournament, which means you end up playing more games usually. So having a staff that you can do different things with is going to be really, really important in that tournament structure. So this is a really great year for us to be having this depth on our staff.
Of course, your pitching doesn't have success without good defense. Tell us a little bit about your defense. I know there's some battles going on, but you also have some returners coming back. Kind of clue us in there and how that's coming along.
Yeah, our defense has been really great this fall. I'm super pumped about how it looks. We graduated four starters, and they were like 4 year starters too. Like they weren't just like starters for a year. So we are gonna have a lot of turnover in that lineup. Our freshmen are coming in and making an impact right away. We return, Riley Spindler, who was freshman of the year in our conference, at third base. She was phenomenal. She looks even better right now. Maddie Dalecki, who went 3 for 3 in our conference championship game with a home run. Like she's back and playing her best softball that she has at Belmont. We've got a couple young but talented infielders who are super athletic. Lydia Vanderwood, Addie Swink, who's a sophomore for us. We got Kylie Cunningham, who's a senior veteran that we trust with the glove on the infield, as well. And then Nicole Hughes, who's all region performer. She's back. And that's just the infield. So we've got Lauren Luciani also, who's got pop in our middle of our order. That's our infield. So we've got a lot of depth there that we think we can make an impact. And then our outfield, we have a good bit of turnover. We've got one returning starter in Maddie Bossiger, who was a freshman last year, and I think she ended up maybe second team all conference. She had a really good year for us, but we've got a lot of turnover in those other positions. So we've got a really good athletic crew that I think can hop in there. We've got a grad transfer who was a D2 All-American. Emily Kahns, we're really excited about, who can impact the game in a lot of different ways. And then a good group of returners out there also, and some freshmen. We got some really talented freshmen out there too. So a lot of depth in the outfield, but not a ton of experience in the outfield. I think that's where a lot of our turnover is going to happen.
You're a podcast pro. I don't even have to set you up anymore. I was going to ask about the new faces, especially the freshmen. How would you describe the newcomers, and what they bring to the table?
They're getting comfortable very fast. I think that's been what's really impressive to me. So there's five freshmen and then Emily and Hannah um, as transfers for us, and I'm impressed with how quickly they're catching on to everything. I always joke like first and third practice is the first time we do that is how I get the grumpiest because people don't know where they're going and things are hard. Like if you want me to be grumpy in a day, let's do first and thirds and rundowns. And like the first time we did, I was like, they're kind of smart. They know what to do. They've played really good travel ball. They've been coached well. We've got them coming in from really great travel ball programs. So they're just like the softball IQ of this group is just beyond, I think, what I would expect out of a freshman class. So it enables us to jump in right away and do things. We're athletic. Um, they run well. We've got a freshman behind the plate too. And then our senior catchers back, Brenna Bloom and Ryan Breer, our freshman catchers. So they do a great job controlling the running game. I've been very impressed with both of them too. So, we've got a pretty solid defense that I'm excited about.
Catcher, your senior catcher, she was pretty important in that whole Maya Johnson coming back, if I remember
Oh,
her talking about as she shared, right? Like she was the
doesn't without Brenna, Maya doesn't come back. I mean, Brenna, I think that it's so what you know about a catcher to be true. Like there's not a great pitcher without a great catcher. And it's not just catching the ball, blocking the ball, throwing the ball, hitting. It is personality management. It's the savvy understanding when you walk out to the circle what it is you need to say or not say. It's holding them accountable in the right ways and with kindness, and just being that person that can throw their arm around you. And Brenna is elite. She's elite at that. She's off the field. She's president of SAC. She's president of the Missouri Valley SAC. She already has a job lined up. I mean, she is the definition of an absolute leader.
offensively. What do you expect to see the identity of your offense this year, and who could is going to help you in this, as far as figure and helping to get to that identity that you would like?
Yeah, that is honestly to me the biggest question mark in for our team. Like if we end up being if everybody hits their potential, we're going to be really good. I think the floor, a lot of those constants that we knew graduated. So the four kids who graduated were so steady for 4 years too. Like you knew exactly what a Grace Gressley at bat looked like, a Bayenzu at bat. You knew exactly what you were getting. And now we've got these players that are coming in, our freshmen or maybe some of our returners who are, have been a little bit more in and out of the lineup. The ceiling's high, but how are they going to mentally handle the going out the first weekend and having a rough weekend? How are they going to bounce back? What is that confidence piece of it? That's going to be the story of our whole season. That's what it's going to come down to because obviously health. Everybody always has the health caveat. If we're healthy, our pitching is going to be good. If we're healthy, our defense is going to be really good. Our offense is going to be the determining factor on how good we are.
Is that about too like figuring out how much power you have? Do you think you could be a more of a base running type of team yet? Is that something that still figures itself out as you figure out who's in the outfield, for example, the competition you got going on?
Yeah, I think if you were to talk about what a Belmont offense has looked like the last few years, we don't hit home runs, the way a lot of teams do. We play in a pretty big ballpark. We don't have multiple double digit home. We don't have six of our girls hitting double digit home runs. We've never played that way. Um, we walk more than we strike out. That's kind of been, high on base, high contact rate. We're going to drive up your pitch count. We're just going to be a pain in the butt to pitch to. And good luck doing that to us for 3 games in a series. That's, I think, who we've been as an offense. We can outlast pitchers. We can get through your ace because we're going to make her work. I think that's been our identity. And I still think we have a lot of hitters who are like that. I do think we have more power, but is it going to manifest itself? Is it without, strikeouts being, how much are we going to strike out? We haven't really struck out a lot as a team. Is that going to go up as the power goes up? So those are a lot of the things we've got to figure out. And that's what I'm really excited about too, because the potential's there. But it's going to be how do we handle failure, which is such a big part of hitting in general.
Do you plan or have already talked to your team about you're going to have a target on your back this year? Everybody now knows who Belmont is, right? Everybody knows Maya Johnson, whereas maybe you snuck up on some people in the past. Now you're an NCAA tournament program. So when you're pop up on a tournament in a non-conference, it's people are going to circle that game. Is that something you brought up to your players? Is that you plan to, or what's that going to be that mindset where you know you won the conference title, so you're going to get everybody's best shot as a result of that?
Yeah, I don't know that we've really talked about it yet. I think our players are aware of it. I think last year what was really big, our conference knew we were good. We've been in the mix, with um, at the top of the conference last few years. I think everybody in your conference is so familiar with each other. We all kind of know where things sit. I think the biggest thing for us last year was we finally got over the hump and started beating the Power Fours, right? Like we'd been in the games with some, but hadn't really gotten over the hump. And we knocked off quite a few Power Fours last year. And I think that for us was where we found a lot of our confidence is like we can get over the hump. We can beat the really good teams. But these, 5 game weekends early on in the season, a lot of times you're seeing their second, third, fourth best pitcher. We might get more people's aces. I know when we went to, the Tuscaloosa Regional, we drew Virginia Tech. I was like, are they going to throw Emma Lemley against us or are they going to keep her for Bama? Assume and kind of take us for granted. And they threw Emma Lemley against us. And, okay, that's a sign of respect. I wasn't excited about it. I didn't really want to face Emma Lemley. Um, Not that their other pitchers are slouches. I mean, number two throws like 72 or
Sure.
whatever. But I think that's going to be a little bit of what we're going to see is we might see a number one pitcher that in the past we might have seen a number three in those early season weekends and things like that. And that's good. That's what we need to do to be great.
Well, you mentioned it, yeah, but you beat. I remember you hosted Maryland. You won that series against Maryland. You beat Arizona State out west, which really was I think the win that put your team, last year's team, on the map nationally, and put Maya on the map in a lot of ways as well, because people started following you from that game on and beyond. I would imagine you have a very similar challenging non-conference schedule this year.
Yeah, we're gonna open up at the University of Georgia first weekend. We go down to Samford for a weekend, and then we're gonna go to Mississippi State for a weekend. We've got Tennessee on the schedule this year. Trying to remember what else. Yeah,
Tennessee, that's big.
yeah, yeah. We've played them. We didn't play them last year. We played them the previous couple years. It did not. They've been really good. I mean, they're just good. Um, but I want to go. I think that's going to be a great test for us. It's right before we start conference. And, in order to make the strides you want to make as a program, you've got to be able to go learn something about yourself in those games. And then, as you do it more often, you go win them. And right. And that's what we want to go do. We don't want to go out. I don't like the games when we should win. Those aren't as fun. Let's play some teams that are going to prepare us for the best of our conference and beyond, hopefully.
Well, you were a 3 seed because of your scheduling and some of the wins you picked up. So there is a strategy to that where, obviously you got to win your league and all that, but you could also improve your seeding. Obviously, they've just passed where they're going to seed 32 teams from now. I don't know if that's something you shoot as a goal from that standpoint, because obviously you got to focus on winning the league. But the way you scheduled last year, you were, like I said, you were a 3 seed. There. By the way, that Tennessee, that's fun. They have good pitchers too, I heard.
I've heard that they might be decent at pitching. Yeah, no, it should be fun. I have so much respect for that program and what they've done and how they develop talent. And I think they've been, top of the country, no doubt, for several years now. So I think that'll be a really, really fun midweek game, and I'm looking forward to it.
Well, credit to both sides. That's great for the state. Like, that's awesome. So credit to both of you for making that happen. I'm gonna have to circle that. Man, you don't go easy on the scheduling here. Right? My goodness.
No, and I mean, listen, every now and then when you schedule, every now and then you're going to kind of get your butt kicked a little bit. But I think there were some things that Arizona weekend was really big for us last year. We not only did we play Arizona State, we played Grand Canyon. I thought Grand Canyon was phenomenal. We played Oregon out there. Like it was like Saturday, we played Arizona State a night game. I mean, we get done, the adrenaline's flowing through us. I think it was extra innings. And then the next morning we played Oregon at like 9:30 in the morning. And I was like, hey guys, let's wake up. We're exhausted. Time zone changes, ridiculous flight schedule. Let's go play Oregon. They're not bad. And we went out, I think we lost by a few, and like the girls went out and competed. Maya didn't throw, and I was so impressed with how the rest of our team competed when we were absolutely running on fumes. And that's when you learn a lot of things about yourself. That was like they talk about schedule losses, like that was a schedule loss. And even on our best day, like that would have been such a tough matchup, and we were running on fumes at that point. So, but you learn a lot about your team in that situation. So that was something I really took away of like, okay, we got a special group that's got guts.
No, and I think nationally, I think it's the same way. I think that Arizona trip was a big. I think you ended up being ranked in the D1 mid-major poll after that, and I think everybody realized you were a legitimate conference championship contender. At least from the outside, people started taking notice of that. Your thoughts on the Valley this year? You mentioned some of the changes with the scheduling, with the regular season series, the conference tournament, as I understand, is going to 6 teams now. With Southern Illinois, believe is the host this year. Your thoughts on the Valley this year?
It's hard to know. I think every year people bring in a pitcher, you lose a pitcher, you lose a couple bats. I think it's hard to know until you actually get out there. But I mean, we've got some teams that are really good. I mean, when we last year going into our tournament, knowing the teams we were going to have to beat, like UNI is tough every year. I mean, it's like they graduate a hitter and they bring in another hitter who can also hit 15 home runs. I mean, he does a great job with that. SIU is good every single year. I know they lost a couple kids, and I'm sure she's brought in some really great players to go along with it. So no doubt about it, they're going to be tough. Illinois State's always good. Bradley's got players. I mean, you just don't know. Somebody brings in a pitcher and all of a sudden they're a contender. And we have a lot of coaches who are, a year in, 2 years in, they're starting to kind of build the culture the way they want to. So, every year it's like, we'll see what happens and hope we figure it out. But we don't take anybody for granted. And we know that, we're gonna have a really tough road in the Valley.
It always is, and I know part of the goal, with all some of the tweaks that is being made, is to try to get back to being a multi-bid league like the league was a few years back.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we've got to elevate from the top to the bottom of our league. We've got to challenge ourselves. We've got a couple programs that I think are in the building phases. Like I mentioned, those newer coaches that are really trying to make some changes really quickly. And I like some of our new coaches last year. You could see the strides that they had made. Like Valpo, for example, they just got way better last year. They're the first example that comes to mind, but we've got some programs that you're like, oh wow, you could see the progress that they're making. So, our whole conference, in order to potentially get back into that two-bid league life, I mean, it's hard as a mid-major right now. What was it? One mid-major we got an at-large last year. Like the world's tough. But you got to give yourself a chance, right? If you think you've got a team that can compete at a regionals level, you gotta schedule in a way that you can do it. And we don't want to look back and say we didn't schedule hard enough. And hopefully it pays off for us.
I think you will, and I think Liberty was an example of what you get into the tournament, anything can happen.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
crashing the party there, knocking off Texas A&M on that. Now, speaking of elevating, as we record this interview, it's the week after your beloved Chicago Bears beat the Dallas Cowboys. Caleb Williams throws 4 touchdown passes against your former head coach, who is now the defensive coordinator in Dallas. You have a first-year head coach in Ben Johnson, who was the offensive coordinator with the Lions. A lot of hoopla. Uh, Give me your thoughts as people that you've been on before. You're a diehard Bears fan. I don't think in fact, it's not an accident that you waited until the Bears won the game before coming on the show. There's coincidence or not, whatever. I'm not making any accusations there, but what's your thoughts here? Ben Johnson, Caleb Williams here, year one, because I know that's been a lot of hoopla this year.
Well, I had camp during that game, and I think it's not a coincidence that I didn't watch and they played well because I watched the two previous games that were a train
Oh
wreck.
no!
Yeah, so here's my takeaway. I've watched the highlights. It's exciting. There's some promise. The defense isn't good enough. So like there's a lot of talk about Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson, all that, but the defense isn't good enough. The secondary's beat up, pass rush isn't good enough. So until that piece gets a little bit better, it's going to be hard for them. And then they're just in a tough division. I mean, the Packers, the Lions, the Vikings, like they're good. Bears don't have a great easy schedule. So this isn't the year. I'm going to be first to say that this is not the year. Uh,
Finally, there you're the first Bears fan that's kind of
I would
acknowledged
like
that.
to
There
see
was a
some
lot of excitement going into the year.
I would like to see some progress. I would like to have confidence in Caleb Williams at the end of the year. That's what I will mark as a successful year. I'm very much into the Cubs playoff run right now. I wish they were playing a little bit better too. I'm surrounded by, I have a lot of Packers fans in my life, which is really annoying. A couple of our players are Packers fans. Our baseball pitching coach is a Packers fan. I loved making fun of them for losing to the Browns this week. That was great. Very much enjoyed that. Um, yeah, I like smack talking our Wisconsin kids who care about the Packers. But then they're like the Brewers, the Brewers. I was like the Brewers. When have they ever won anything? Cool. They'll go to the playoffs and lose again. So I'm doing a lot of smack talking right
Wow. Whoa. Look
now.
at you.
If the Brewers win the World Series, I'm just going to cancel practice for a week, so I don't have to talk to Maddie and Nicole. So
How is this all? Wait, you're all in Nashville. How is this? How are we getting like all this Packer, Brewer? Like, what are we doing here? We're in Midwest?
we have no players on our team from Tennessee right now. We're a national team. Let me tell you, we got players from
Okay.
all over. We got a lot of Wisconsin kids. We got kids from Illinois. We got a
Uh,
big pack of Florida kids, but we've got kids from Washington State, Nevada. I mean, we're from all over the place here. So we get some an interesting mix of teams that people cheer for here. We got some Cubs fans too. We got a couple Cubs fans too.
you think you got to run in you with the Cubs here, or they're going to get? I mean, right now, I mean, as we record this, you're probably going to host the wild card round, probably against the Padres. Not an easy
Yeah.
draw. You've had some injuries. Kyle Tucker looks
Uh,
to be out. You've had some pitching injuries. Where are you feeling?
the second half of the season hasn't been great. So I'm not super optimistic, but man, you talk about just get in and then see what happens. That's baseball playoffs right there. Baseball and hockey are like that. I feel like get in and then see what you got. And you I think anything can happen, but I don't know. I'm always worried of the Dodgers. The Dodgers are the one I'm like, oh, who's gonna knock them off?
Yeah, Otani, that guy's pretty good.
Yeah, he's okay.
He's pretty good there. My co-host and producer Victor went to Wrigley this year to watch the Cubs. That's the best atmosphere he's ever been to for a baseball game.
Oh, if you haven't been, it's like you have to. You have to.
How many times you been gone to Wrigley? How many times?
I've been going since I was a little kid, so I can't
Woo!
even count. And then I lived in Chicago for 4 years, so I went quite a bit when I lived in Chicago.
When's the last time you went?
It's been a few years since before I had a kid. It's been 3 years.
Are you
So,
one pushing for, there's been a lot of rumors that Nashville could be in the mix for if baseball expands.
oh, I can't wait. I hope I will be in line to buy season tickets. I'll probably have to take another mortgage out of my house, but if they are, I am in. I mean, still be a Cubs fan, but like I would love to raise my kids with having a Major League Baseball team here. Be amazing. My whole
Because
family, we're baseball people. I love baseball.
what's the nearest team you've got where you're at? Is it Atlanta? Is it the Braves? Or what's the nearest?
Braves. We get blacked out on Atlanta and Cincinnati, which is crazy. So we've got a bunch of teams within like 4 and 5 hours: the Cardinals, the Braves, and the Reds, I would say.
Okay. So you got to, yeah. So it's going to definitely take a commitment to go out to the
Nashville
ball.
would be an awesome baseball town.
That's
Like,
the rumor. I don't know if it's going to happen. That's just been
oh,
the word on the street.
if they can figure out the stadium part of it, I think
Okay.
like we have an awesome AAA ballpark here. The Sounds, the games are so fun. So that would be interesting as to what happens there.
Very good. All right. And so you're still sold. You're still on Caleb. You're still a believer.
Yeah,
You want to see
sure.
more, but still,
Yeah,
you're.
there's some pieces there. Like you hear the national media likes to make a lot of stuff out of him, and I don't know how much of it's true or not. It's hard. It's just like anything. It's like, how much do we believe? How much do we not believe? So I don't have a lot of opinions on that piece of it because I'm not in the locker room, and I think people who have opinions when they're not actually the ones in the locker room, like, they usually have an agenda.
So what are you going to do now? You didn't watch them play, and they played their best game. But granted, it was Dallas, who they got their own issues. So are you going to avoid them? I mean, what are you superstitious? Are you going to watch? What are you going to do?
We have fall games on this Sunday during their game, so I'm going to take this week off also. And then if they go on a run, I don't even remember who they play this week. If they win again, I might just have to stop watching
Whoa, that's a
until
big
they
commitment.
until they lose again, and then I'll start watching again.
So as we record this, the Bears will be at the Raiders September 28th in Vegas. Then they have a bye week, week 5.
If
We have a bye.
oh, yeah, I won't watch this week just because we're playing at Austin P this weekend. So we'll
October 13th, Monday Night Football, the Bears at the Commanders. You know what play they're going
lose
to.
every Monday night game. When my son was born, um, they were playing a night game against the Packers. And I remember holding him in the bed. I'm exhausted after giving birth. And it was just such a Bears game. And I was like feeling sad that I brought him into the world as a Bears fan. And like, can I really do this to you? Like, maybe we should do something else. So, yeah.
Trying to see. They host the Saints October 19th. They're at the
That's a should
Ravens.
win. That's a should
You
win.
better win that game. Yeah, you're at the Ravens on the 26th of
Yeah,
October. At Cincinnati, November 2nd. You mentioned
no Joe Burrow, maybe.
No Joe Burrow. Yeah, November. That's 5 hours from where you're at. Host the Giants. At the Vikings. Host the Steelers, November 23rd. At Philadelphia. At Green Bay. Back to back.
Yeah, that's a tough stretch. Like we better like that. Like the schedule's not easy. The schedule's not easy. So it's going to be tough.
You got to play in San Francisco. You end up, oh, wow, our teams play. I didn't realize this. The Dolphins go there.
That's a should win.
Probably.
I know.
Unfortunately,
I hope
if you don't score at least 30 against the Dolphins, you got problems because we have no secondary.
I know. Probably be a new coach by then for the Dolphins too.
Could be an interim coach. Let's see. The date for that game is that's later on. Actually, we play every year in the preseason. Actually, I take that back. We don't play in the regular season. It's preseason we play.
Oh, yeah.
Which is probably for the best for me anyway. we're already moving ahead to the Stanley NHL season, and the Panthers going for a three-peat. That's where my mind's at.
I was sitting there, so I think it was the second week, and I'm sitting next to my wife, and we're watching the Bears, and the game just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. And I look at her, and she goes, "The best team I cheer for is Belmont softball." And I said, "Well, that's good, because at least that's that's part of our livelihood."
That's the most important one. I think you're good with that. That's perfectly fine.
Yeah, so I'll take that one.
That's perfect. Are you a Nashville or a Predator or a Blackhawk fan or both?
Blackhawks fan. I'm all Chicago. I don't like the Preds because they're in the Blackhawks division, but I cheer for the Titans for sure. Like, they're it's easy because it's AFC, NFC.
Sure.
But that's tough too. We might have a new coach by then too.
Cam Ward, rookie quarterback. Yeah.
He's exciting. I'm excited about him. I think they need the coaching staff's not great.
They're taking their lumps a little bit there.
Yeah.
That's good. It's just fun. We should just do a football pod.
Yeah.
That could be on the side. We could do like a side project. Just do football.
I could do a few sports. There are a few that you don't want to talk to me about, but like I could do basketball. I could do football.
Really? Basketball? I didn't know this part about you about basketball.
Yeah.
Who's your basketball team?
The Bulls.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm very interested in the business side of the NBA. I think the NBA is really fascinating. Like,
yeah,
I think their salary cap stuff's really interesting. So I'm interested in a lot of it. I've been cheering for the Pacers a lot because we have a Belmont alum who was here, Ben Shepherd, who's big their run, and they're just really fun to watch. So I've been a little bit of a bandwagon Pacers fan the last couple of years since Ben went there.
Picked a good time. Yeah, they got Halliburton injury is going to probably hurt him a little bit this year, but
Ben will play a lot, and he was like, I mean,
I feel like you would be fun to go hang out and watch a sporting event.
I like to sit at a bar and enjoy watching some college sports at times. The children have made that part of my life a little bit more scarce. Yeah, I love watching sports. Just an absolute sports fan. I'm
a Red Zone channel guy. So I need a break. That could be your other option. If you don't feel comfortable watching your Bears, maybe just watch the Red Zone.
I do that as well. I like a little bit of that.
Nice. Very good. All right. Well, I'm going to text you then during the Monday night game. Yeah, just be prepared. They're going to show that Hail Mary from last year over and over.
Oh, I remember I was at my mom's house with my family, and we were feeling good. We're having a big family dinner, all my sisters, brothers-in-law, and it happened, and I just sat there and was like, yeah, of course. You're not even surprised by it anymore when you're a part of a tortured fan base.
Dunze looks like legit as your number one receiver, though. He's very good. So,
really good.
Yeah, you're right. You got to fix your defense. I mean, that's you're right.
Yeah, get him healthy, and then we'll see.
All right, very good. All right, we'll let you go on this as the fall kind of plays out and everything. What are a couple things you're looking forward to learning about this group before you get to the season?
That's a good question. I'm looking forward to seeing how we deal with adversity because it's been a pretty smooth sailing fall. And we need to get kind of punched in the face at some point, whether it's in one of these games that we've got coming or something in practice. We need to learn how to fail and for things to be a little bit harder because they've handled all the challenges we've thrown at them really well. So I think that part of it. And then, as we really kind of move back into like the 8-hour weeks, in a few weeks, learn a little bit more about when the hitting stuff gets really tough and we start to, incorporate more mental game into the hitting. How do we handle that piece of it? Is it something that we embrace? Is it something that's we go back to our bad habits and things like that. So it's a little nuts and boltsy, but I'm excited for that part of it to figure out, kind of what we're made of mentally a little bit more.
Well, we look forward to that, and we'll look forward to seeing your team once the season gets going. And always a pleasure to catch up with you. Always fun to see you. Like, man, how many years have you come? You've come on a good number of years now,
I think
right?
the first time I went on was probably in 2020 because all the COVID stuff when I was at Wright State. So I think
All
it's
right, and the
been
program had just shut
five,
down,
yeah,
right?
like 5 years. We're longtime friends now, Eric.
5 years.
Yeah.
Well, you've been through a few things during those 5 years.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's good. Good
Good.
stuff. Good
No,
stuff.
it is.
It's all part of the journey and super blessed. Couldn't love Belmont anymore.
5 years. Good memory by you. That's good. Very good. Time flies. That's been fun. It's been a pleasure having you for those 5 years, and always. I'm sure we'll do it again soon, and maybe we'll do a side project. We'll just do like sports podcast instead of
If anyone would listen to it, count me in.
I'll find somebody to do. I'm sure somebody will listen. So
Yeah.
everybody listens to podcasts. Hey, have a good fall. We'll talk. We'll be in touch. But hey, seriously, always appreciate you taking the time to talk to us here on In the Circle. Be well.
Thanks, Eric.